Indian No More, Chapter 16, Halloween Carnival. By October, walking to school was a breeze. Our group stopped at every street corner and waited for the crossing guard's permission to go across busy Normandy Boulevard. Then we'd head all the way down to Budlong Avenue to arrive at school. We could do it blindfolded. All everyone talked about at school was Halloween and the upcoming carnival. I couldn't say I understood all the excitement because our school back home had never had one. Then again, we didn't celebrate Halloween. Now the big day had arrived, and I'd soon find out for myself. "What's that lady doing?" I asked Keith as we all walked onto the school playground. A woman was bent down painting squares within an oval on the pavement near the cafeteria. Grown-ups, parents, or otherwise, didn't usually come to school, and as far as I knew, they certainly weren't allowed to paint on the playground. This looked strange. "She's part of the PTA. Getting ready for the cakewalk," Keith said. "What's a cakewalk?" "One of the carnival games. It's a big deal. You walk around the oval while music plays. When it stops, you have to stand on a square. Then they draw a number. If you're standing on it, you win a cake." "As in a birthday cake?" Pee-wee asked. "The Halloween birthday girl." "As in all kinds of cakes," Addie said. That explained why Mrs. Shapiro, the PTA chair, had asked Mama and Chich if they could each bake a cake. Hammering echoed throughout the playground. Other parents built plywood booths near the school cafeteria. "Did you have a Halloween carnival at your old school?" asked Addie. "Nope," Pee-wee said, "but I'm excited for this one." "We never celebrated Halloween on our reservation," I said. More parents arrived to decorate already constructed booths with black and orange crepe paper and signs, and though I still couldn't figure out the real source of the excitement, I had noticed all any of the kids seemed to care about was their Halloween costumes and finding out what everyone else was going to wear. "I'm going to dress up as the Lone Ranger," Keith said. "Why don't you come as Tonto?" Keith had told me the Lone Ranger was one of his favorite television shows. I wasn't familiar with the Lone Ranger or Tonto, seeing as we didn't own a television. But I said okay. Tonto was supposed to be an Indian on the show. I was an Indian. Easiest costume ever. Wrong. "I told you I wanted to be Tonto, an Indian," I said later that afternoon as Chich wound my long braids into a bun. "No," she replied. Mama had asked Chich to create costumes for Pee-wee and me to wear for the carnival. She'd made us each red yarn wigs to wear on our heads, with white aprons to wear over dresses we already had, so we'd look like these Raggedy Ann dolls we'd seen at the store. "But Keith wants me to be Tonto. He's dressing up as the Lone Ranger. I can't be Tonto if I go as a doll." "Is that so?" "Still, no." "Why not?" I huffed. "Because you're already an Indian," she said. "You don't need to parade as one." Ouch. I remembered Chich's story about her grandmother and the white people staring at her like a circus act. But this was different. I would be dressing up as a TV character, not a real Indian. But it wasn't different to Chich. Just like those white people who watched my grandmother dance and knew nothing about her culture or traditional dress, people around here don't know anything about Umpqua and any other tribes. They only see white actors dressed up to play Indians in movies or TV shows. None of that is real." She paused and looked at me. "I want you to enjoy the carnival with your friends, but I want you to respect your family and culture too." Then she nodded for Pee-wee and me to get ready. We put on our dresses and aprons that Chich had made. Then she put the yarn wigs on our heads. Mama followed her with makeup, drawing a few dark brown lines under our eyes to make large eyelashes. Next, she put some red rouge on our cheeks. Finally, she painted our lips with her blue flame red lipstick. Reluctantly, I trailed behind as my family entered the playground that afternoon. The gray skies and winds that hung around that morning gave way to sun and light breeze. Elvis Presley's All Shook Up blasted from the tall black speakers. Tons of bright crepe paper waved from colorful booths full of activities. My classmate Richard, dressed as Superman, threw darts at balloons attached to a plywood booth. Each balloon held a strip of paper that listed what prize you won. He received a little sawdust-filled stuffed elephant. Keith appeared in front of me in his white cowboy hat, black mask, and a black scarf around his neck. He folded his arms. "You told me you were coming as Tonto." "I wanted to, but Chich said no." "Raggedy Ann?" "Mama made me," I sighed. Keith turned and headed over to the fishbowl booth. I saw him try to toss ping-pong balls into glass bowls to win a goldfish. But my nose led me to the table filled with sacks of buttery popcorn, where I picked up one of each for Pee-wee and me. Pee-wee then followed Mama and Daddy to the auction booth. Mama picked up a semi-nude table lamp for 50 cents. Daddy found a brand new lock wrench for the bargain price of $2. The four of us gathered together when Chich took her chance at the cakewalk. Chich gave her ticket to one of the PTA moms and stepped onto a square. Kids and parents stood on the remaining squares. Then the music started and everyone walked around the oval. When the music stopped, Chich ended up on the square marked 3. The woman dipped her hand into a box and pulled out number 3. Pee-wee and I cheered. Mama clapped, and Chich received her prize. Only it was the very cake that she made the day before. Daddy laughed. At least we know it'll taste good. After Pee-wee and I played some games ourselves, our family headed back home for dinner and to have Chich's prize as Pee-wee's birthday cake. I munched on the caramel-covered apple on a stick as we walked. Keith had given me the goldfish in a bag he'd won to say he understood about the costume. It was the best time of my life since moving to 58th Place. Then came Halloween night.